Hi, this is Majinoni, and welcome to another edition of The Good, the Bad, and the Disappointing. I thought I'd have something a little different for the good this time, and that is Hobgoblin number 1. Now, here's my disclaimer. Hobgoblin number 1 is not what you would call this most amazingly rich title that will warm your heart and make you go, geez, this was the greatest thing known to mankind. Because it's not quite that. But what this is to me is just kind of like what Marvel did with the Superior Foes of Spider-Man. They took a character and then they twisted his core concept. And this is going to definitely polarize some people. I think some people are just automatically going to be turned off by what they've done. But basically, Kingsley decides that, well, all right, I'm a supervillain. I helped out the heroes with Axis, became a hero, and what I'm going to do is he basically, for those of you who don't know, in the Amazing Spider-Man book, is he basically licensed his image, and he licensed the images of other supervillains. So this way, anybody could become any 2-bit villain, and then money goes to him, and he doesn't take risk. So what he's done is now he's written a book. He's this motivational type speaker. He's making people pay tons of money. And then his new twist is it's not being a super villain anymore. It's being a superhero. And they have different tiers of, for example, you complete course number 1, then you go to course 2, pay more money, go to course 3, etc. He's got merch. This is just, like I said, I'm really enjoying this take on it because it's a totally different and unique idea in this sense of how they're turning this character around. And it's basically they're trademarking his image, so to speak. Now, while that's all going on, you also have the Green Goblin, and the Green Goblin's not too happy that there's still Hobgoblin flying around, despite the fact that he gets killed, that he thought he killed him. And there's also a little surprise thing at the twist at the end. So, at least for the short haul, I'm on board. I don't know how long the novelty of this idea is going to last, but that's what I like about it. I mean, the art's okay. It's not like top-tier artist, but at the same time, I don't know if I'd really want a top-tier artist on it because it doesn't need that kind of treatment. The art style is fine, and I just like the presentation of the character. But I enjoy it. But again, I really do think this is going to be a polarizing book. I think some people are just going to outright hate it, and by all means, too, this is not a 10 out of 10, but it still was enjoyable. Okay, now the bad. And this is the bad Arkham Manor. Now, here's the deal. As I was reading this book, basically what it is, it's yet another Batman story, as you can obviously tell. And the Wayne Manor, it's like Bruce Wayne falls upon hard times, and he loses his manor, and then he's living in now an apartment complex with Alfred, and the manor gets turned into Arkham Asylum. And I'm just, as I'm reading this thing, I'm just going, okay, well, the art's not too bad. It kind of fits the darkness and of the whole story and imagery. The Batcave is still underneath Arkham Manor, and but the tunnels are all sealed with, concrete, which I'm thinking, how long is that going to last? These are super villains, All they got to do is just break out and find the tunnel, and they'll break through that. But besides that point, I'm still reading it, and I just got to a point where I just went, do we really need another Batman title? We have, Batman Detective, Batman and Robin, we have Batman Eternal, we have Arkham Manor now. We have Batwing. To me, this book really, while it is different in the sense of a different presentation, I don't think it adds added value to the Batman trademark. I don't think it adds added value to earn a spot on the stands. This is the type of book that's going to earn probably mediocre sales. People are initially going to make a grab for it because it's Batman, and sales are just going to go down over time. And eventually they'll get some other hot artist on it, or they'll just cancel it, or something to that effect. Odds are they'll keep it going as long as they can because it's Batman, and Batman means DC can take a slightly bigger slice of the pie. And by the time I got to the end of this, I'm just going, I really didn't enjoy this book. It's like basically what's going on is a murder happens in Arkham Asylum or the new, Wayne Manor, and it's kind of like, well, how's Batman going to solve it? Oh, I don't know. He's just going to go into one of his different personas and enter Arkham Asylum so he can get to the bottom of things. I'm like, why would he care? There's the Joker, there's Riddler, there's everything, other things, from A to Z. And, this thing doesn't fit into continuity. And I understand it's fine as a standoff book if that's what they want to keep it as, but I'm just going, it's too much Bat. And I cannot continue this title. Some people are going to love it. I think people are going to like it for some of the darkness of it. But I don't know. I just can't imagine wanting to spend an extra $2.99 a month when, forget Marvel for a second. When you consider everything that's coming out from DC, all the weeklies that are coming out, they have 4 or 5 different wars and invasions coming your way. It's like, do you really need to spend $2.99 on this when there's other bigger events coming that are going to demand your money? So that's my bad. Okay, my disappointing is Multiversity: The Just. Basically, what's going on here is, before I go into the story a bit, the art, I was actually going back and forth with the art. I liked the art at times, and then I started to go, this is I just wasn't gelling with it, and then I started going, it actually is kind of good. So overall, I'm happy. I'm happy with the presentation of everything in terms of the look. But as I'm reading the story, it's basically this alternate universe where there's really no supervillains. Superman's created this super defense system. And these are the kids of the heroes, that's Damian. And then he's having a relationship with Lex Luthor's daughter, and heroes are basically banding together, and they do Danger Room type scenarios over and over again. And as I'm reading this thing, I'm just going, while it is an interesting world, I just found it difficult for me to get through. It, for example, the page count for me was long, and I just thought it was just dragging when it didn't need to drag any longer, and I just started to fall out of interest of this title. And the comic book, the cursed comic book thing is in here again, and it's kind of as I'm reading this concept about the cursed comic, it's the Multiversity book, and to me, it's DC and Grant Morrison are patting themselves on the back, going, well, this artwork is fantastic, and the story is amazing. Pat, pat, pat. And I'm just I understand if you want to put it as a theme, but the way you're doing it, it's kind of self-serving at the same time. It's kind of what you're trying to do is convince your readers that, okay, maybe this book isn't as good as it is, but we're going to tell you it's better. So that way we're going to convince you it's better. And that's why it's ending up as my disappointment. I'm just not a true fan of this issue at all. Anyways, that is my good, the bad, and the disappointing. I'm sure in most cases people are going to probably like the Multiversity more than Hobgoblin, but I don't know. This I just thought was fresh, and this I thought was just kind of Anyways, comments or questions, let me know. Share. Facebook, Crunchyroll Anime Reviews. I'll have more reviews later. So until next time.